thanks for watching my lesson. This one is going to be a blues rhythm lesson, and it's looking at a blues rumba style riff. This is inspired by a video I watched recently of a jam between Josh Smith, Kirk Fletcher and Ariel Posen at one of the NAMM shows. According to the title of the video, it's based off of the famous rumba tune Crosscut Saw by Albert King. So I'm mainly looking at, I think it's the Josh Smith part, how he sort of kicks it off, doing that kind of G rumba riff, and some of the embellishments. So if that sounds like your thing, come in for a close-up and we'll have a look. Thank you. So, blues rumba in G. This is, as I've just said in the intro, based off a video of Josh Smith, Kirk Fletcher and Ariel Posen having a jam session at the 2019 NAMM guitar show. Pretty sure it's 2019. I'll put a link in to the description perhaps. It's really good. I'm guessing if you found your way to this video you know who they are. If you don't, they're just incredible modern guitarists, essentially blues, jazz type guitarists. More blues but jazzy blues. Ariel Posen maybe not so much. I think he's not necessarily known as a blues guitarist, but certainly the other two are, and they're all great. And it's a really cool jam, but the kind of backbone of it is just a very simple rumba riff, presumably inspired by Albert King's Crosscut Saw, which is probably the most famous blues rumba. So I thought I'd do a quick lesson on it. It's going to be short and sweet. It's essentially the most basic of 12 bars in terms of chord patterns. You've got we're in G, so you've got 4 of the 1 chord, which is a G. You've then got 2 bars of the C chord, which is the fourth chord. You then go back to the 1 chord, the G, for 2 more bars. You then start the turnaround, so you've got 1 bar of D, 1 bar of C, and then this one just stays on 2 bars of G, or you can mix it up and throw in the 5 chord again, the D, for the final bar. We'll get to that. I'm not going to go into too much detail about what a rumba is. It's mainly because I don't want to get it wrong. It's kind of a syncopated rhythm. Essentially, if you think of it as a 4/4, you're emphasizing the offbeat of the 2 as opposed to the 2. So 1 and 2 and. You're kind of dropping that 2, emphasizing the and. Which essentially is... Let's turn it up a bit. So you can kind of tell there's a pause there. And I'm emphasizing where that 2 would be with a little muted note. So if I play the most basic form of the riff, it's going to be... So that second note I'm hitting is coming in on the and as opposed to the 2. That's as much detail as I'm going to give about the rumba. So I'm just going to look at the notes now. So we're going to start off with a G. I'm going to start off by hitting a G note, which is the 3rd fret of the low E string. Then, on the and of the 2, we're going to slide up. We're going to hit the 5, and we're going to slide up to 7. Also, I'm quite heavy on the palm muting, fleshy part of the right hand, up by the bridge here. At various points in the intro I didn't do that. You can kind of mix and match it. It gives it a more percussive feel, but to start off with now, we're doing that. So get that feel. And if you want to do what I'm doing with that little percussive note in between, that kind of helps get the vibe. We can do it about the muting as well. After we've done that, just a simple 5-7-5 on the A string, and then repeat. So in its most basic form, that's what we'd be doing. So that was 4 bars, so this is a bar. Without the muting, that's what it sounds like. So. And that's your first 4 bars. You can then move everything that way and do 2 bars of the C. So this time 3 on the A string, and then slide up 5 to 7 on the A string, and then 5, 7, 5 on the D string. And then we go back to 2 more bars of the 1 chord, which is the G, so repeat. You then go to the 5 chords, so again start on the A string, but this time the 5th fret, so 5, slide up 7 to 9, 7, 9, 7 on the D string, sorry. Repeat the C riff, which is 3, 5 on the A, slide up to 7, 5, 7, 5 on the D, back to the G. So let's put that all together and we'll look at the most basic way to play this rumba. So. And that's it. Let's start to embellish that now. So first of all, the most obvious embellishment is a bit of palm muting. So. Sounds a bit better. You don't have to just do that. You can do a bit of both. The next thing is on the 4th bar, or would it be the 3rd bar? So we're going to be doing this. So. So for the 4th bar, we're not going to be playing the riff. We're going to be coming off the 3rd bar. So we're still playing the full riff for the 3rd bar, and then we're going to go and do this, which is on the A string. We're going to reach across with our pinky and get the 8th fret, play it twice, then the 7th fret, then the 5th fret, and then 2 more strikes on the 7th fret of the E string this time. So that will sound like this in context. Then I'm going to move on to the 5th bar, which is the C chord. And carry on as you were. Another thing we can do, which Josh Smith does in the video, I believe, is something like this. So on the 2nd bar we go. So once you've played the 3 and the 5 and slid up to the 7, and then you play the 5 on the A string, we're then going to do this thing instead of what we would usually do, which is. So rather than play the 7 and come back to the 5, we go. So all we're really doing is adding that 7th on the E string. And obviously changing the timing, so that's quite quick. You don't have to stick to these things religiously, you could just change the timing of that a little bit and go. Maybe not that because that didn't fit, but mess around with it, you get the idea. So we've mixed it up now and we've got this instead for the first 4 bars. For the 5th and the 6th bars for the C chord, we can just stay as you were, or we can imitate the if we want. Also, to give it a bit more sort of oomph, when you're hitting the C and the D, the 4 and the 5 chords, you can do a bit of a power chord. So rather than just playing the 3rd fret, the C note on the A string, we can play the 5th fret as well on the D string. Do that anyway, just gives a slightly different dynamic to it. What else? And then sort of more full chords when we start like that. So all we're doing there is, depending on how you hold these chords, it's basically a dominant 7 chord. I use my thumb, so thumb holding the 3rd fret, this is for the G, 3rd fret on the low E, pointer finger on the 3rd fret of the D, middle finger on the 3rd fret of the B, and then ring finger on the 4th fret of the G, which is a G7. But we're going to kind of, or some people hold it like that, so you have to mix around your fingers, so just everything's coming up, I guess. I don't hold it that way, I hold it this way. And for the purpose of what we're doing in this riff, I'm going to actually just bar with my finger the 3rd fret of the D, G and B, and my thumb's still going to be holding that, and I'm going to just strike and hammer on with my middle finger from the 3rd fret to the 4th fret of the G string. Which is obviously quite a popular blues move, hammering on that major 3rd. So basically that replaces our first note, so rather than we're going. And this is where that little kind of percussive mute I do on the second beat helps, because I can kind of cut off that chord. And you can do that for the other chords. You can do that for the C chord up here, just move everything up from the 3rd fret to the 8th fret, and you can do it for the D as well, D7. Obviously when you do that you need to adjust where your slide and your follow-up notes go. So if we're doing that for the C, we're sliding up from 10 to 12 and then playing 10, 12, 10 on the A string. So 10 to 12 on the E, 10, 12, 10 on the A, as opposed to using the A and the D strings. And the same for the D. So move everything up to the 10th fret, and again use 12 to 14 on the E string, 12, 14, 12 on the A string. And then the only other thing I was really doing, apart from maybe mixing up this, changing the timing and experimenting with the kind of feel of that, was to move to a 5 chord for my 12 bar. So rather than staying on the G, playing effectively just quite a simple D7. So, let's put that into context. We've got again, mess around with the feel for that. That was a kind of 2 downstrokes, mute, or you can just go more rapid. That's it, yeah, that shape I'm using there is just, if you imagine a C7, slide it up 2 frets, so we're starting on a D, D7. Ooh. So if it's just you and a friend, you've got 2 guitars, one of you plays that, one of you plays some lead, yeah, play some G minor pentatonic, G major pentatonic, whatever you want. Obviously Josh Smith and the like are doing a lot more than that, but that's because they're great. I'm not going to go into that. Chords, if you've got a third guitarist, so one of you wants to play some chords, then Kirk Fletcher is playing a lot of 9 chords. So that's a G9, that's a C9, 9. It's a D9. The G9, so with the E root G9 is where you don't actually sound the root, but if you think of that as your sort of reference point, the 3rd fret of the E string, and then it's the 2nd fret on the A and the G, and 3rd fret on the D and the B. That's a G9. C9, A root is 3 on the A string, 2 on the D, and then 3, 3, 3 on the G, B, E. Slide that up 2 for your D9. Yeah, that will get you going. And it's fun, it's cool, it's really fun to play. The timing may seem complicated, but it's not. It just comes really naturally. And it's a really useful style of blues to play. So hopefully that's helped someone out there. If you've got any questions, let me know. And yeah, I may put some, I'm thinking about doing some PDFs with sort of more useful scales and chord diagrams and stuff. So for example, I'm going to do one with all the blues chord grips that you can use. I'll either be putting that on a website or a Patreon at some point, which I'll put a link to if I do. And yeah, any questions, let me know. Thank you very much. See you for the next one.